Hi everyone. Today I want to attempt to repair this E-PM2 Olympus camera. It has the following problem. When you turn it on, it will make a weird noise like this, and well, it will essentially still work, but the IBIS indicator in the top right corner will flash, so we don't have any image stabilization anymore. And if we look at the sensor when turning it on, it should move around. And were able to maybe make that out, but it only moved on the vertical axis. But it did not do make any movement on the vertical, on the horizontal. So that's what we're going to attempt to fix today. So step number one, take it all apart. Disassembling this camera is a lot more work than I thought. Like, there's a gazillion screws, as you can see over there, and often they're hidden. Like, there was one underneath the sticker. Oh wait, it was on the other part. Here was a, let's see, focus. Yep, there was a sticker underneath there. There was a screw. Then there were a couple screws hidden underneath the flash shoe, or whatever you call it, the flash mount. Yeah, so now moving on, I somehow need to get through to the sensor and the IBIS assembly. So here's the sensor assembly out. Really annoying because you have to well, essentially it's easy, it's just 4 screws and 2 ribbon cables, but then one of the ribbon cables is also soldered directly to the board. Luckily, or at least I hope, it's only a ground pad, so that should be, I should be able to somehow reattach this. And now here's the mechanism. I'm not exactly sure what's wrong. The only thing that looks a little odd, if we look at this cogwheel here, we can see that this one's a lot further out than this one, so I'm going to push it in and see whether that helps. Only problem is 4 washers fell out and I have no idea where to go. I mean, I'm pretty sure they go onto these 4 screws which hold the sensor in place, but problem is there's 2 different heights of washers, so that'll be fun to reattach. Also, again, the flash thingy, that's also in there and came out. Need to figure out how to get all of that crap back in. Okay, correction. As I mentioned, this cog down there was like somehow a little bit outside. Now I was able to push it entirely in. In other words, it's not connected to the shaft anymore. It broke loose. This one here, I cannot move in or out. So I think that's our issue. I need to somehow reattach that to our to the shaft. So that first of all, I'll try to get the cog out, then maybe put some super glue or something on it and push it back in. Yeah. Now I have the cogs out of this mechanism here. And I think I'll just reattach this one using super glue and hope that I don't mess up, because then recovery will be really difficult. Near to impossible, probably. So I really shouldn't mess up sticking this one on. Luckily I've got a reference with the other one how it should look in terms of distance between the shaft and the cogwheel itself, so that's going to be interesting. One more thing about the washers though. While working on the camera, I found 4 more of them. So actually it's a total of 8, and they are different size and differently coded. So they have like little indents on the side, and there's like numbers from 1 to 4. So be careful when reassembling it. I can just guess that like always like the number 1 goes with the number 1, but they all looked about the same height, so I just put them like randomly, but I'm not sure whether that's correct. I just hope that the alignment and everything's correct. Now fast forward a couple hours, I let the glue dry, reassembled everything, which was a real painstaking process as expected. The washers were terribly difficult to put back on. In the end I decided to just like put the screws in, fix them with some tape, then put the washers on, and then invert the entire camera and assemble it that way so that the washers are properly on there and don't fall off while reassembling. So if we turn the camera on now, you maybe were able to see there were 2 very slight movements, but that's it, and no bad sound anymore. We turn it off. We can hear a sound, but that is normal. It always did that. Let's take a look at this maybe a little closer. Turn it on. Turn it off. But the movement was in both directions, and that's the important thing here. So let's turn it back on. Also, if we turn it around, we can see that there is no blinking IBIS indicator anymore. It's just a normal white, meaning it is enabled. And if we put a lens on the camera, you can see it works perfectly fine. We can take photos. So I call this a fix. So the only thing that is a little bit problematic now is that I'm sadly managed to break the flash mount. So these 4 pins are sadly not connected anymore. The lucky part about this is that the flash that came with the thing uses this port here on the side. So it's not that big a deal because the owner doesn't want to use a big flash on this thing anyways, but it still bugs me. Also, I'm not 100% sure about whether I put all the washers back in place where they belong. So I'm not 100% happy with what I did, but I mean, considering that IBIS is working again, I'd still call it a success because it seems to work perfectly fine, and well, image stabilization is back, which is a huge point of these cameras, of the Olympus cameras, essentially their entire line. It's their big selling point, and it makes the camera a lot more usable. Alright guys, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.